This is your call board for May 14th through the 20th.
Like use 2 through 33, sound 1A through 7. On deck, standby Q actors. Electrics, kill the blue run lights, please. Like you 2 and sound 1A. Go.
From Arizona Theater Company, this is Hang in Focus with your host, Sean Daniels.
As someone that grew up in Arizona, it's a great way for us to share the work that we do worldwide.
And featuring co-host Chanel Bragg.
That is our responsibility, is to reflect what is going on in the world.
Streaming live from the State Theater of Arizona.
So let's do it. Let's really use this moment to re-envision ourselves.
Welcome to Hang in Focus, live with Sean Daniels.
This is the new Arizona Theater Company. I'm just glad that you're here.
On today's episode, it's all about our return to live theater as we explore our 2021-22 season.
Hey friends, exciting day as we get to talk about something that we've wanted to talk about for 16 months and something that we feared several times along the way we would never get to. But we get to be here and we get to talk about our return to live theater and our ability to, invite people back into our theater and to perform and to have that community with us again. So we're very, very excited about today. I want to go ahead and start by bringing out my co-host, Chanel Bragg. Go ahead and come on out.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see you again.
How are you, Chanel? How's your week been? It's been a full week.
It has been a full week, and I'm actually really excited about this Hang in Focus specifically, because now we talk about how we move forward from here in the remainder of our year. So this is our big season announcement, but this whole week I feel we've been really gearing up for this announcement with some special events that we've done and getting a lot of people excited about what's to come. And yeah, I can't be more than ready to share with you all of the wonderful choices that we have for our season.
Yeah, we did donor events in Tucson and Phoenix this week to be able to tell those select donors that have really, really stepped up. So much of the community has stepped up, but these individuals had really stepped up for them to be able to do it. And it's just amazing the response that we got from people. That
Absolutely.
That they were.
And I got to sing too, right? So it was the first time in a year that I got to sing and perform and be around other people unmasked. It was really a special event.
And truly, the first time you sang, like just tears from me, from everybody in the room. We haven't heard singing in so long. We haven't been in the room with someone with a beautiful voice, hitting, as you sang some of the songs from shows that we have coming up this season.
Well, thank you so much, Sean. It was nice to see you up there too, doing your thing. And we're ready, right? Like, we cannot wait for this fall to come fast enough so that way we can actually do this in person with you sitting in the seats.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and bring out our managing director, Geri Wright, who's going to join us. Hello there, Geri.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Great. So you were always working. Geri's always working 24 hours a day, but you got to attend the events while we were, sharing the season bits that we were doing. Thoughts that you had while watching it?
It was emotional, right? It was definitely emotional. It was exciting to see everybody in person, just like you said, Chanel, right? Like, to actually come face to face with folks. As a matter of fact, I had a donor come up to me and go, I've seen you on Zoom, but I didn't know you were that tall in person. I'm like, yeah. So, because we all look the same on a box, right? On a Zoom box. So it was a wonderful event and super excited to come back. And I think everybody is, I think everybody feels the same way, just ready. We're ready. And by the time we come in the fall, we're really going to be ready, which is great.
Yeah. And I had somebody at the very first event be like, "Oh, you're the new guy."
Yes, I love that.
I was like,
I love that.
Am I I guess I am. I mean, yesterday was my 2-year anniversary, which normally in theater terms would not be the new guy. But it was like, oh, that's right. We did a couple of shows and then it all shut down. So if you haven't been on Zoom, you haven't been on this, then yes, sir, I am the new guy. Wonderful to meet you.
Yeah. Well, that's the new guy, and that's the tall girl. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, and to put in perspective, even though I'm more new than the both of you, it's just really exciting for people to finally meet me for the first time too. It's like, oh yeah, I've been here for 9 months, and yet this is the very first time I was meeting a lot of our wonderful donors and patrons of the theater. So it's just really exciting all around that we get to do the thing that we love to do so much.
Yeah.
And before we dive into what the shows are, I think something that I really wanted to express to everybody, and I want to express to all of our viewers and everybody who's been supportive of us, is just a real moment of gratitude. We didn't know when it started how we were going to get through it, if we would get through it. We kept hearing that 40% of not-for-profits would not survive this. We still hear that a tremendous amount of them may be in danger. I personally know theaters that have closed in the time or have let go. They haven't closed. They've let go of all of their staff to figure out how to survive this moment. And so I just think the fact that not only are we here, but we've made some really difficult decisions. And as Geri talks about, we are in the best financial shape of the last 10 years, and that we are positioned from a place of strength to be able to come back because of the work that we've done over the last 14 months. And all of that is due to everyone that's watching, our supporters, our donors, these foundations, all of these people that believed Arizona deserves world-class theater, that our education programs deserve having arts in the school, which we know if it was not for us would not be happening in our lifetime, right. And that they believe that this is the start of the new chapter of Arizona Theater Company, that we've done great work before, but this is really the beginning of how we solidify that vision, which is to become the local theater that the world pays attention to. And so I'm just grateful for everyone who's out there. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, right? We still got a summer to get through. Nope. We have so much to do, but we are in such a better place than we have been in a decade. And that is thanks to everyone in this community lifting at the same time.
Well, it's true. And, we reflect back on the whole pandemic, you're starting to hear a lot of those silver linings, right? And I think that, there was quite a few for us. This company, 53 years, and they have done stellar work on stage and just went from season to season to season. Right. And what this, being dark, although unfortunate, enabled us to do is really, change the oil, kick the tires, look at everything and restructure and prepare for the new ATC and what the future looks like. So, and they just haven't had that opportunity, good or bad previously.
Right.
And so we just took advantage of it, quite honestly. And it worked for us.
I want to point out that we are using a new program for this episode right here. So you may see across the bottom, as people write in on Facebook, it may come across the bottom. So that, if you wanted to know why Elaine's comment was there, she's echoing and lifting up what we said. So feel free to comment and write in, and we'll be able to comment as we go forward.
As well as ask questions or anything like that. I do want to take this opportunity to thank both you, Sean, and you, Geri. As a person, not just someone who works for you and looks up to both of you as mentors, but as a person who has been in this theater community for a very long time, to see the changes that Arizona Theater Company has gone through has been incredible. I mean, during one of the donor events, we had another local actor that participated and said, I can feel this new, fresh energy that is breathing life into our organization. And he goes, you can tell already the difference under this leadership team of what the future of Arizona Theater Company is going to be. And I want to share that with you and also share it with everyone watching, because I don't think you guys are ready. There's so much that we have in store for you.
Thank you.
When we drove home from the event in Tucson, my wife, Veronica Durr, and Chris Penna, who, spoiler alert, is one of our playwrights, and that was what we talked about, was the vibe of the culture and how different it felt. Chris was one of the first people I brought on, actually the first person 2 years ago. And so just from a sort of outside eye to see what we looked like 2 years ago, to be on the phone during some meetings and suddenly here in person, it's night and day in terms of just the collaborative nature, the way people work together, the excitement. And, part of that is, I think coming out of this pandemic, right, we all have just a lot. We're really grateful for the things we get to do that maybe we took for granted in terms of just, I mean, we talked about this today, Chanel, just doing donor events used to kind of be like, I don't mind them. I don't mind raising money, but it's just something you do. And they just felt almost spiritual Tuesday and Wednesday night, gathering with people for the first time, talking about theater, talking about the possibility of our state and how it could really lead our country. It felt like, oh, this is something I took for granted, even when I was, working here before. And the culture now has changed to be a part of that.
We've done a lot of internal work on that, right? Because we unfortunately have had to shrink down to a small group of us. And so we were able to really look at those values and what's important to us before we start to strategically grow again, right? You get your house in order internally before you start, decorating and bringing in the furniture and getting everything going. And so, and that's really important work. And sometimes it gets overlooked because we're so busy. Right. And we had the time to do it this year. So we have a good foundation to build on for sure.
They always say in artistic director circles that 3 years is a year, which means that it takes you 3 years to enact what would be change in any other position in a year. Because I think to your point, things move so slowly. You have so much going on. Every year you make a little bit of incremental change and you hope that over the course of 10 years, you've moved the needle somewhat. We would never wish this pandemic on anybody. But because of it, we were able to actually kind of start over, have a moment, have a breath, have sometimes tough, sometimes long conversations about who we wanted to be, what the values were, and then be able to now start building again, looking, for people and places, but also shows and artists that meet exactly what that is that we want to be growing.
Exactly.
And I think of course. And I think over the last year or two, our resiliency has been absolutely tested. But I think that the way that we've been able to pivot during this time and nonstop produce, a lot of people don't realize we never stopped. In fact, we launched a television show / podcast platform. We had our digital play series that's been doing incredible. We're reaching, if we want to talk about that, we talked about that last week, but we're reaching more students than we ever had before with one show than we did in the entire year that we've done in years past. And so I feel like I think this COVID ended up being a blessing in disguise for our organization to restructure, to figure out, like you said, our values, what are the things that we hold dear, and then how we can improve our processes. And we're reaching far more people than we ever did before. And I also love this opportunity to be completely transparent as a leadership team with everyone. They get to hear who we are, get to hear what we're about, what we want this company to be, the future of it, and then see, our progress along the way and hold us accountable to what we say that we're going to do. So I'm really excited in our resilience and in everyone's investment in us and for being a part of us and attending our readings and coming every single Friday to see Hang and Focus. We're just so grateful.
I couldn't agree more. Just real quick, Sean, I know we want to get going, but it's truly so many people have supported us in this last year, 14, 15, I don't even know how, it feels like it's 5 years, but the last year or so. And we would not have been able to survive were it not for the donors that supported us, for the subscribers that said, you know what, turn my subscription into a donation. We'll come back and see you when you come back live. Y'all, I can't tell you how important that was to our survival and really enabled us to kind of get on our feet. And now we are optimistic about the future. So thank you so much for supporting us.
Yeah, lots of silver linings. I lost 12 pounds when I had COVID, and let's be real, that wasn't going to happen any other way. So as we look
Another
at silver lining,
lining,
you're like, you know what? I probably wasn't going to join a gym. So maybe it wasn't great to get COVID, but if there are silver linings along the way, I'll take it.
For sure. Well, shall we get started? Everyone's watching is like, are you going to get to the season?
I know, they're
already?
you love each other. Great. Wonderful.
Right. Yeah. Right. Enough. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start, and let's bring in what our first show is going to be, which is a musical. And it is My 80-Year-Old Boyfriend by Carissa Bertels, Ed Bell, and Christian DeMel.
and I am so excited to be so close to coming to Arizona Theater Company to share my 80-year-old boyfriend with you. I think it's the perfect show to come back after a really hard year. We've all been missing theater, and you all have done such a great job of pivoting to digital platforms and doing everything you can to keep theater alive. Thank you so much. I'm so excited that we get to come and share this message about connection and love and friendship and finding the things that we have in common, even if we have major differences. I think it's really important that we put this message out into the world, and I'm excited that we get to do that with you. So we'll see you soon.
Such a charmer. So my 8-year-old boyfriend it's a new musical, but it's had a production before. And it's based on the true story of Carissa Bertels and how she was struggling as an artist, trying to find her way in the world. And then she befriended a gentleman who actually was 80 years old. Fun story, he is now 90 years old because that's how long it takes to make a musical. So he's actually now her 90-year-old boyfriend. And, you know, she really learned along the way that the thing of intergenerational friendship is true and that you actually have things to be able to learn from others. We all often think that people our age totally get it. We understand. And people older than us are like dull and out of it. And people that are younger than us are just dumb. But this show really puts forward the idea that people other than the people that look exactly like us have much, much to be able to teach us. And so I think as we come back, that idea of looking for similarities and not differences, that idea of that we have, you know, how do we learn to love each other? How do we really figure out ways that we can connect with people we didn't expect, unexpected connections, I think is a real exciting story for us to be telling as we come back. That said, you know, Carissa is a Broadway soprano. And so I'm also just excited to be on stage. If you can picture the first time the lights go down, we have a fantastic local piano player, Alan Plato, who's going to be playing with us. And the first time that music happens and she begins to sing, right, we're all going to weep uncontrollably in the theater. Other thoughts that you two of you want to share about my 8-year-old boyfriend?
Well, I am excited because, of course, we are very, very understanding of like consumer confidence as we go back into the theater, right? Mm-hmm. And don't worry, we are working already to make sure the protocols are in place, that everyone feels absolutely safe. And with all the new announcements that came out even today, right, I feel even more so that we'll be able to get back to a little bit of normalcy. But even with us choosing 80-year-old boyfriend, it was with that in mind. And so the first show was a 2-person show. But not only is it giving you the best in the nation, but it's also giving you the best locally as well. Alan Plato, honestly, has been a Broadway touring music director for many, many years, and just came off of the Broadway national tour of the Carole King musical, Beautiful. And so the pandemic, weirdly enough, has landed him back at home here in Arizona, and we are so blessed that he's actually here, that he can be our music director. So it's exciting that right out the gate, we are showing you some local love, and you're getting, you know, the best of both worlds, which is what we want to be. You know, the local theater that the world pays attention to, which includes uplifting the local resident artists as well as our national artists that we invite as well.
So, and we said it's great. We said it's an award-winning musical so that you know what award it won. Yes. Christian Demel, who wrote the book for it, won the Kleben Award, which many people don't know. It's a very insider award, but it's given out each year to the best book or the best lyrics or the best music of any musical. And each of those people wins $100,000 when they win the award. So not too shabby, right?
Not at all. I like the story you tell, though, how you received the award.
So
yeah,
you go,
right?
Yeah. It feels shady. It feels really shady, but it's not, because you know, there's a press release. You go to this very private event, and then like when Christian got up to, you know, acknowledge that he won it, the guy like slipped him an envelope like in his hand, like he's a mobster, and inside the envelope is a check for $100,000. Like handwritten out from the account. And so, you know, afterwards we were like, you should get that home. Like, do not go out with it afterwards. Yes. Go directly home. And it, you know, He cashed it. It all worked out. It's for real. It's just that's just the way the Cleveland Foundation does it. They give it to you right there in the moment. But
Could you imagine losing a check that large and having to
No,
get a reissue?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't actually.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
don't even want to. But you know
Yeah.
what? I just want to say what I love about this show is that what you said, Sean, which is, connect with similarities, not focus on differences, right?
Yeah.
I think that is so, everybody's ready to come back and really just kind of unite. And this is the perfect show to launch the season of that feeling, right? That feeling
I
of
agree.
connecting with folks that you wouldn't normally think you would connect with, right?
One of the things we talked about a lot when we're trying to figure out like what shows do we even want to start with? What shows do you bring back at all coming out of this? And I really focused on, I loved this idea of like, how do we learn how to love each other again? Like how, and that's everything from romantic love to friendship. I think we all suddenly have a certain amount of anxiety when you see a room full of 50 people. Like we have to all figure out how to reconnect, how to do these things, how to, be in each other's company, the joy of being able to do it. Someone dropped us. Cleveland did the books and lyrics for a chorus line, and then he died of AIDS and left his estate to his prize. Oh, look at that. Getting a little information from...
Thank you, Monica. Monica Bauer shared that.
Yeah. And he left in his will that it would always have to be given in a shady envelope. Whoever wins it. It was his, yeah. No, but I just think it's like, so I agree with you, Geri. We spent a lot of time figuring about like, what show do you come back with? Like and what several shows do you come back with? And it felt like, oh, this is a story about connection. This is ultimately a story about, as Carissa was saying, just what do other people have to offer? How do we make sure that we listen to really what they're saying so we can understand where they're at? And how might we be better in ourselves if we were better listeners? And so I think that is exactly the story that will inspire us all. And also just the music is beautiful. So don't take my word for it. We want to share one of the songs from the show so that people get a sample of what it is. So this is not from a version of the production. Carissa and Ed did a bit of a cabaret concert over in London. Ed is British. And they recorded the whole thing to be able to capture. So this is one of the songs from My 80-Year-Old Boyfriend that you'll be seeing when you come see our production.
I know I'll lose some part of you today. Your perfume on the air might finally drift away. Each freckle on your face might finally fade away from view. I'm losing each hint of you. The way romantic movies make you weep. The rhythm of your breathing as you softly sleep. The echo of your voice is gone. There's nothing I can do. I'm losing each trace of you. Jokes you used to tell, all of the romance, how you swooned and how I fell. But no matter how I try, I'll never understand how to surrender all of the love left behind. left behind. Days become weeks, become months, become years. And time takes away like a drum in my ears. So the world still turns and the hours still fly. And bridges burned me, lessons learned. So I have to say goodbye. But I can't say goodbye to all of the wishing that we could have made it last. All of the hoping we could overcome the past. But no matter how I try, I never understand how to surrender all of the love, all of the love left behind.
I love how
Found myself
infectious.
clapping.
I know. I love how infectious applause is. I was literally getting ready to clap.
It was.
Well, and every night that we showed that video, even for our donors, they would all still applaud, even though there was just a TV there. And it was like somewhere Carissa's ears are burning that people are, yeah. Randy Myler says, nice, sounds like a terrific new musical. Congrats.
Tucson
We'll take
is
it,
ready.
Randy.
Yep,
I know.
and Laura.
Great. Let's move on to our next show. Now, this is for people that follow the calendar of Arizona Theater Company, which is probably no one. This is structurally different in that we have never had a holiday show before because of the way that the shows broke up in the two cities. Now, we have moved everything, which took longer than you think it would, to be able to make sure that we can have a holiday show. Because I really believe in holiday programming, because for so many people, it's their first time coming to the theater. And I feel like as artists, it's a real opportunity and it's a real privilege to be able to introduce our art form to new people. I mean, families come, there's so many families, right, that come to Christmas Carol and it's the only thing they go to throughout the year. And so I think rather than bemoaning that, I think that's a compliment that you are a part of their family tradition. And we want Arizona Theater Company to start being a place where people come every holiday to celebrate with us. Also, just sometimes you just need somewhere to take your family and everyone's quiet for 2 hours. So that might just be my family, but every now and then that also helps to be able to do. We want to offer that. So our next show is Miss Bennett, Christmas at Pemberley by Lauren Gunderson and Margo Melkon.
Jane Austen was writing of her time. And the reason why Jane Austen, I think, is still so beloved is that all of her stories from then are still very relevant and resonant today. She wrote about women. She wrote about the confines of society that women are up against, that people are up against. She wrote about class differences, and she wrote about how we all exist in the world in relationship with each other. And that is exactly what we're dealing with today, is how do we all relate to each other amid all of these constraints and pressures. And Jane Austen was able to do it with wit and charm and delight, and she was so funny, and that's what we need right now.
I cannot get enough of that harp.
I know, right? I was like, where'd that music come from? That's awesome.
For people that don't know, this is a play that Lauren and Margo wrote that is the characters from Pride and Prejudice that she has taken and put into their own adventure and it's a holiday show. You know, it has everything that people think of, right, when they think about just joy at the theater, which is, you know, a big cast, empire waisted dresses, all types of things for people to be able to celebrate.
A beautiful man.
That's right. That's right.
That doesn't hurt.
That plays Darcy.
Yes.
Oh my God. Actually, you know, it's so funny. This is what Chanel and I talk about during the day, is that whoever our Darcy is has to be really hot, right? Especially after Bridgerton. True story. So we did the show at MRT, and we did it with a multiracial cast, and we had a few people write in, of course, always complaining that it feels like it's not accurate. But we had more people write in because they felt like we didn't cast a hot enough Darcy, and it was like that's what you're
learned.
That's what you're gonna take. All right, fine. So Chanel is single-handedly doing a search for hot actors of Arizona.
I am. So contact me if you think that you fulfill that bill. No, and we actually had auditions, right, last year. And so we are combing through all that material, and there will be another opportunity for anyone that hasn't submitted to submit to us. But we are really excited with some of the selections that we've chosen. Maybe Sean can share that.
Sure. So we have actors, local actors, and I want to say part of what we're really focusing on this year is, as the State Theater, it's the best in our business that we work with. And that doesn't mean you live any one particular place. It's just the best in our business. Mm-hmm. And that means you may live in New York, you may live in Kansas, you may live in Phoenix, and all of those are there. Lena says, we love a good Darcy moment. I know. And after Bridgerton, we cannot let anyone down, right, in terms of what it is. I'm glad that our fans are agreeing. So we have several local actors that we've already cast. We're not done in terms of figuring out who it is, but Seth Tucker, who is a great actor out of Phoenix, is going to be joining us. Lena, who you just saw comment at the bottom there, is also going to be joining us. Great actor out of Tucson. Veronica Durr, who was in Silent Sky with us, is also going to be joining us to be able to do it. We have another actress, Cindy Johnson, who just moved to Phoenix, who is going to was a OSF actor. Oh, and there's Seth there giving his hands up for it. And I will be directing it. And also we have in this year, you know, we talked about Alan. We also have a series of local designers who are going to be a part of us. So we're really trying to use this to be able to uplift the talent that's here. But this is the perfect show to be able to do it, because this show is all about joy beginning to end. And it's all about figuring out how do we celebrate at that time of year. And I feel like local artists that are in your community are going to play a huge role in that. So we're really excited for this moment to celebrate these artists, for us to be able to show it off. And what a great story, right? What a great story that Arizona Theater Company in November and December is going to be nothing but a joyful place for people to be able to go.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Jerry.
No. And that's part of the new business model, doing that every year, right? You know, we talked about what it looks like and how difficult this past year was, and now we're excited about what it looks like, but we have to do all these exciting things every single year, right? And the holiday show every year, and that's part of the new ATC, and we're excited about it. But this show in particularly is just so festive, right? Gets you in the moment. I mean, exciting to be in Tucson in November and Phoenix in December with Christmas in Pemberley.
Yeah. And I also want to mention, so sorry.
No, go for it.
I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to share this. It's that not only are we walking the walk, we're talking the talk, we're walking the walk, right? And so not only are we making a commitment and reaffirming our dedication to our local actors, but also casting diversely, which is extremely important to us in color conscious casting, in colorblind casting. And so with the actors that we even just mentioned, there's a lot of representation already. So y'all ain't ready. I just cannot wait for you to see the rest of our season. We are just really, really excited to just keep moving forward and really upholding our values.
Yeah, and doing it in a joyful way, right? That we still get to, for our audience to be able to celebrate everything that we do. So thank you for saying that. So as always, like I'm being told to like continually move a little bit faster because I could talk about each of these shows. Yeah, I know. No, it's me. All right, so our next show is Women in Jeopardy by Wendy McLeod.
I had my ticket to Arizona last April, and I planned to come out to see Women in Jeopardy. And we all know what happened next. So I can't wait to see Sean Daniels' production of it this January, when I will be thrilled to leave Ohio, because it's April 21st, and it actually snowed this morning.
Ooh, terrible story.
Yes.
So, parts of, there's two reasons why Wendy wrote this. The first one was she knew all these incredibly funny actresses that were what she would say of a certain age, right? Which is probably just like over 40. And she never got to see them in a show together, right? Think about your favorite funny women. When you go to an audition, the room is lined up with them all competing for the same spot, right? You never get to see a show that has three funny women at the center of it, that aren't 20 or 30. So she's like, that's it. I'm going to write something as a vehicle so I can cast all of these funny women I know in a show at the same time. Then, true story, they had a girlfriend of theirs who started dating someone that they didn't like. And then there was an abduction and murder in their small town. And I know, she's a funny woman. And they began to worry that their girlfriend's new boyfriend might have been the murderer. Turned out was not. That was just, them giving themselves something to be excited about. But she realized that is the great inspiration for a play. So she began to put this together, and it is exactly that. It is a full comedy beginning to end. Few people write dialogue like Wendy McLeod. Even when we read a scene for our donors, big laughs, even in a very short period of time, because she is witty, she is smart. She's a little randy, which helps also in terms of making jokes. And you finally get to see three women at the center of it, be able to play off of each other, to have these amazing scene partners. And as you saw in the clip that came up, Jen Cody, who big Broadway star, sang at our gala. Remember that? We had a gala. There was it was like years ago. I know. It's hard to remember.
We're doing it again, too.
We are doing it again. We always will. And Jen, who sang at it, who was a part of it, is coming back to play the lead in it. So we can't wait to have that. That's a big Broadway and Disney star on our stage.
I think it's also important to mention from a programming aspect that we really just want to bring you joy out the gate. So the first three shows that are in our lineup are all comedies. I think we can all say that we are ready to laugh. We want to be in a room, hearing one another guffaw and hold for I want the audience to laugh so hard that our actors have to hold for laughs. That is what my own personal goal is. And I think that programming those three really, really wonderful comedies, at the top, it's just going to really bring in a lot of joy at the beginning of our season.
Yeah, I think, we talked a lot about just what do people want when they come back to the theater. And I think, this is, of course, a different year rather than any year. And the big thing we came back to was people just want to be able to be together, to have a great time, to enjoy each other, to laugh out loud. And, I believe there's nothing wrong with a night at the theater where you just enjoy yourself top to bottom. Do I want that for every show of the year? No. But am I going to want that for a while when we get out of this? Yes, I will. And
nothing is better than collective laughter.
Well, just think about the events this past week. Everybody was so happy to be together. I mean, I think it's a great way to kick off the season.
Yeah.
A great way.
And also, I'm so excited for everyone to get to know Wendy because she is the joke math that she does is amazing. I mean, she sits there, and you'll see this when we get there. She sits there and watches the audience during the show because she's trying to gauge if this word was a little bit longer, would they laugh? She talks about like smiles to laughs to guffaws, like what along the way? Is it too many words? Was someone shuffling their shoe? It's really what makes her an expert in terms of putting together comedy.
And after we produce Slow Food of hers, right, during the digital season, I know that something's really funny if I don't laugh at all and I say, that's funny.
That's
it's
right.
like so funny that I can't even like spend the energy to laugh. Like if I say, oh, that's funny. I'm like dying inside.
Yeah, great. All right. And then after that, we move on to our next show, which is Nina Simone, For Women by Christina Hamm.
The play looks at the story through the lens of her song, For Women. And I use the For Women within that song to integrate them into the play. And I found it to be very, after all the productions, it really works, because when I talk to specifically Black women after this show, they really feel like they're represented in one of those women.
What I love about this show is the thing that theater always allows us to do is look at a different time period to be able to have a conversation about now. I think it's, I'm not a big Shakespeare guy, but I think the reason people are into the classics is they love to know that 400 years ago, people were dealing with some of the same issues that they were now. And I think what Christina has done so beautifully in writing this is that the show is not just a jukebox musical with her music. It is about Nina Simone, the activist, the time that she was living in and what she was pushing and the change she was pushing on. And I feel like that's the way you have a conversation about today. That's how you talk about today is, you can write a play about yesterday, but if you're writing also a play about the 60s, and then we collectively have a conversation about how far we have come or not come since that moment, I feel like that puts us all in a place where we're open to have that conversation and be able to look at it. And Nina Simone was an activist, and the things at her time that were thought of as radical would be standard today in terms of what people talk about. So I think to be able to salute her and realize ahead of her time, pushing for so many things, that I think that's what Christina has done beautifully and what I can't wait to be able to bring to our stage. Tiffany Nicole Green is directing it, and she is an amazing director. She is the resident director for the small upstart musical Hamilton that is happening in New York, has just announced it's coming back. I talked to her today. She's at the Goodman today directing, and then she's going to be at the Alley right beforehand. And so a great example of like truly the best in our country coming to be able to bring this story to us.
I for one, am stoked. I'm a huge Nina Simone fan. And just at the donor events this week, I got the pleasure to sing from the show. And when I was trying to decide what song to sing, naturally, I did sing His Eyes on the Sparrow, because I felt like that's the type of song that we need to hear right now in this moment. But the rest of the songs that are in this play, because it's more like a play with music, like Sean was saying, is incredible. And I mean, I wish I could have sung Mississippi GD. I won't cuss on air. But it's such a powerful song. And I got to get like back into her rep and really see like how deeply moving her music was, but also how activist oriented her music was. Her music was written with a purpose to move people to action. And that's what you will see in this beautiful story that, Christina Hamm based on the 4 women that are in Nina Simone's song, For Women. So I agree with you, Jeffrey Belliston, who made a note on Facebook. It is the best.
So we can't wait for that. All right, next up, you know what? What order are we telling this? Because we switched the order of this when we did the event.
I believe that it would be the next season, which would be Justice.
Great. Excellent. So next coming up after that is Justice by Lauren Gunderson, Bree Loudermilk, and Kate Kerrigan.
I know it.
Heroes of Arizona is the incredible Sandra Day O'Connor. Sandra Day O'Connor was called one of the most powerful women in the world when she was on the bench. And I love that Ruth Bader Ginsburg always called Sandra Day O'Connor her sister, her big sister. One Christian, one Jewish, one from Texas, raised in Arizona, one from Brooklyn and East Coast, and one liberal, one conservative, and how amazing that they both served as sister justices in such an iconic and world-changing way.
Do you want to go
love
first
this.
here?
I do. This is, all the plays are amazing this year, but this one in particular, it just goes back to what we were talking about initially is like, let's look at the thread that brings us all together. Not the differences, but overcome those and really kind of what connects us. And, this story of these two justices is just amazing, truly. And how they did that in a very public setting.
So so if people don't know, but they should because we say it every week, Lauren Gunderson is the most produced playwright in the country. Mm-hmm. And actually for several years, she was number 2 to August Wilson. And then of course, sadly, he's not still writing plays. So she overtook him. So she has been working everywhere for a decade and really considers Arizona Theater Company to be one of her homes. And it's actually very funny. This started out as a pandemic project. We were like, oh, what can we do to be able to film something? And I was like, I grew up in Mesa, Arizona, and we sort of knew about Sandra Day O'Connor, like it was mentioned. And as you get older, you realize this is one of the great American heroes of our time. This is an Arizona hero. And she was the first, right? So as the first, she was allowed to make no mistakes whatsoever. And we're partnering with the O'Connor Institute for Democracy. We had a wonderful call with her 3 sons to be able to talk about it. And the stories that they tell us and the way that she handled it with such charm. When she arrived at the Supreme Court, they didn't have a desk for her. So she just got to work by, putting cases on the ground. They did not put a bathroom in the Supreme Court, a women's room in the Supreme Court, till Ruth Bader Ginsburg was there to make sure that this woman thing was really going to work out.
It's going to work. Right.
Before we're doing it, which is amazing because, we're talking about the 80s. Like, we're not talking about crazy sexism that happened in the 30s and 40s. No, she is a Reagan appointee. And so, and Sandra Day O'Connor, right, appointed by Reagan, honored by Barack Obama, really beautifully upset everybody by just doing what she thought was best in terms of what it was, never following kind of party lines. She just, if it was about women's issues, she was 100% for women. If it was about gun control, she thought everybody should have guns and go shoot them on their farms. Like she in no way fell into any one category. She did what it was that she believed. And so I'm so excited for this team to be delving in to this story, because part of what we need to do as the State Theater is to celebrate the great people that are from here. I mean, we have people, so a little bit about this show, they go through the 4 cases that they really feel like impacted the country. And what you realize is Sandra and Ruth decided the fate of the country on so many issues. Sandra Day O'Connor was homeschooled as a kid too. Oh, see, there we go. I didn't even know that. So see, we learn things from doing this here. But I really feel like it's a story we all need to be sharing. Now, we have had a lot of successes in our education department, and we have a phenomenal education director, Jasmine Roth. So for people that don't know, we did an online reading of Brian Quijada's Somewhere Over the Border, and it had 4,000 kids in 55 schools were able to watch it. And that sounds like a lot, and it really is, especially when I tell you that's about how many student matinees we used to do in an entire year. That's how many students would come to student matinees, right? And we did that in 72 hours, 4,000 kids watching. Our goal for justice is to figure out a way through donors, through whatever, to be able to send it to every high school in the state, so that every student who is growing up in Arizona can learn about Sandra Day O'Connor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I feel like that's really going to be a thing that I wish I had had. That's what I wish I would have had when I was growing up, in state school here in Arizona.
Absolutely. And as the State Theater of Arizona, right, that extends past Tucson and Phoenix. Like, we are really excited about those reaches into northern Arizona, especially too. And a couple of schools actually, I think, believe in Winslow or Williams were a part of the schools that were able to see somewhere over the border. So how we continue that reach in those regions, as well as, you know, the other areas in southern Arizona, like Sahuarita or whatnot. So I'm really excited about how we continue to expand our profile as the State Theater of Arizona by actually influencing those other smaller cities that doesn't, you know, get as much exposure to the arts. I mean, I did during Cabaret, I was able to go do some teaching artist work with a high school out in Yuma. So we are committed to operating outside of just Tucson and Phoenix. And I feel like with Justice, this is going to give us an opportunity to really, you know, continue that work.
You know, it's amazing also because she's from here is that we're talking about an icon. And every time we announce that we're doing this, someone says like, oh yeah, I know her. Oh yeah, I did this thing. Kish, our costume designer, was like, oh, I ran into her in a Trader Joe's. And she stopped and talked to us all. And it was like, oh my God, that's right. Because she was like the most approachable. Yeah.
And yes, absolutely. You know, you'd see her around town all the time. You know, she is a local.
Yeah.
Right. Like a local celebrity. Yeah. And very straightforward, very to the point, no nonsense. I'm excited about this show. Definitely.
And then we'll move on. I know we can't tell stories forever, but one of the always complaints that her staff had was that you had to be able to eat really spicy food to work for her, because she would do these dinners at her house when she was running. She ran, if you didn't know, she ran the state Senate in Arizona, right? One of the few people ever to work in all three branches of government. She ran the state Senate. And she would invite everybody over to her house for Tex-Mex to be able to do. And you had to come, Republican or Democrat, and you would have to eat incredibly spicy food and drink margaritas. And they said so many bills in Arizona got figured out at 1 a.m. because she made everybody sit down to eat and do it together. And like, that just teaches us so much about her and who she is and how she was able to get things done. And also a story, we don't hear those stories anymore, right? We don't hear about impromptu parties of Republicans and Democrats sitting down to figure out, you know, bilingual education, which, if you didn't know, Sandra Day O'Connor was the first person to push that through in a state. Arizona was the first state to be able to have that. And that, you know, doesn't fit her Republican upbringing, but she felt like that was important for Arizona, right? She's really her own woman across the board. So anyway, we'll tell more and more stories about Sandra as we go.
The music is going to be incredible, though. So get ready. We have a great writing team that is doing the music for Justice as well. So you got some Lauren, got some Kerrigan and Loudermilk. You know, I just can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah. And the last show of our season is How to Make an American Son by Christopher Oscar Pena.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Senior, the director of How to Make an American Son by Christopher Oscar Pena. And I am so thrilled to be moving back into spaces together and seeing the world open up. It has been a year of grief for so many reasons. And on a personal level, the idea of being able to tell stories in a space, being witnessed by other humans, is our first opportunity to healing. It's our first opportunity to create conversation, to breathe together, to laugh together. So I cannot wait to return. And I'm especially thrilled, Sons fan, especially thrilled to come to Arizona Theater Company, a theater so dedicated to telling the multiverse of stories and humanities that we have in us. It is going to be so wonderful to tell a brand new story there with the incredible artists and staff and community. I look forward to it, to seeing you in person soon.
Another great show.
So for real, she sent that video and I was like, where did you get a Phoenix Suns hat? Like what? Like that?
Right?
She was like, no, I've been a Phoenix Suns fan for forever. And then she like showed me I was like, what are you? What are you talking about? Anyway, she's claimed she really is. If you don't know, what's wonderful about Kimberly Senior, on top of so many things, she was the director of Disgraced when it was on Broadway. And while her production was on Broadway, it won the Pulitzer Prize, actually a little before it opened up. So, she has a great eye for identifying stories that she feels like this is a conversation that we have not been having and the theater can do. Disgraced was essentially that. If you remember that conversation, that felt very new in terms of things that we had not been talking about. She read Christopher's play and she said, like, I have to do this. As a first generation American, this is a story that I have to be telling in terms of how we get it out there. And I feel like that's exciting for our audience that is interested in that meatier conversation, is interested in the type of show that you are still dissecting and talking about for days afterwards. This is the show for them to be able to spend some time with Christopher's words and her direction. And, 6 months later, still be figuring out, having that conversation at home.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I love that the last show of our season, goes into the summer, which we normally are not present, right? Like it's June, July. So those folks that stick around in the summer and are looking for something to do, I mean, like, that sounds awful, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Like that wants to go to the theater and look for that serious theater. Like we will be here over the summer. We normally end sooner than that, like May, June, early June.
Yes. Many of us do not have second homes to go to
right,
in the summer. So
that's exactly right. We're counting on it.
That's right. Yeah, I will be here. No, yes. So I think that's what's really great about that. And Chris is an artistic associate of us. He is dedicated to us. We're dedicated to him, not just in a play. And so he will be in residence several times, getting to know the community, making sure that he feels like they know him as an individual. They get to know Kimberly. I'm sure we'll all go to a Suns game. Clearly, we have to at some time with her and be able to share that with our audience.
Well, and also How to Make the American Son was an NEA grant recipient, which is huge. I mean, it's such a big deal. If you want to expound on that a little bit, Sean.
Sure. So that's the two extra bonus things about it, is that we received a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts for this show. And we haven't got a grant from the NEA in a couple of years. So this is a great way for them to be saluting the work that we're doing. Also, the show will go to the Rattlestick in New York after it closes here. So we're already partnering with a theater, so that our work can go off Broadway, so that our audiences will see it before it goes to New York. And also so that Chris's work continues, right? It's so hard. It's always so hard to get a second production. The thing that we always have to offer is that every show gets two productions, right? One in Tucson, one in Phoenix. And now he knows that he's even going to get a third one, that him and Kimberly will go on to New York afterwards. But of that, I'm happy. It's great. Off Broadway is wonderful. I'd love to go to New York. I'd love to leave. Kind of more importantly is that the fingerprints of everybody who attends those early shows will be all over the show. Because when you do a new play, how the audience responds, if nobody laughs at a joke for the first 3 previews, that joke is not there for the 4th preview.
Right.
If they roar about it or they're confused, you are responding. In a new play, the audience is a really active participant in how the show gets created. And I'm glad that that's Chris's, and I'm glad that the New York will get to see the work that all of us did when it goes there.
And I'm definitely excited. Oh, sorry, Geri, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just excited about the story in itself. It is a love letter from Chris to his father. And I am all about our stories that reflect our community. And this is most certainly one of them. And so we can't wait to share this with you and encourage everyone to come out and check it out. I think you'll be deeply moved by his beautiful writing.
I was going to say, I love Monica's comment. I summer where I winter.
That's right. Yeah.
It's the truth. That's true. And we're looking for air conditioning in the summer. So we'll be here in the summer, which is great.
Well, plenty of that.
Yeah.
So we will always have, there's going to be other things going on. We're going to have digital offerings. We'll have other small events, but those are our 6 main stage events that the majority of things will be around. As you can see below, ArizonaTheater.org is where you go to learn more and to be a subscriber. Subscriptions will go on sale pretty shortly. right now we're renewing people who are part of us, and then single tickets will go on sale as we get later in the summer. But right now it is about subscriptions. So go there, sign up so that as soon as they go on sale, you can join us. And, you know, it's a really great thing to have spent even an hour talking about the theater that we're going to make and the audiences that we're going to have, right? I feel very lucky to be even just having that conversation.
I think so too. You know, we're really fortunate to be in this position to do this. You know, a year ago we were thinking, I'm not sure if we're going to be doing this.
Yeah.
But we are, and we're excited about it.
Well, we're glad that we are one of the nonprofits that survived, right? We can say that. And we wouldn't have been able to do that with all of your support. So thank you to everyone that is watching. Thank you for you being a part of our journey all throughout COVID, for supporting us through all of our different endeavors, for every pivot that we've had. We would not be here ready to do this, ready to move into our next season without your support. So thank you. Yes, Evan, cheers to brighter days, y'all. I agree. And we hope that this season announcement sparks some excitement in you and within our community, and we cannot wait.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Geri, for joining us today to do this.
And we're going to go ahead and toss it on over to our call board for the week.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
This is your call board for May 14th through the 20th, 2021. Hi, I'm Will Rogers, Community Engagement Manager at Arizona Theater Company, and thank you so much for joining us. We hope you caught this week's episode of Hang in Focus, where Sean and Chanel and Geri talked about our 2021-22 season, our return back to live theater. It's going to be an awesome year. It's going to be an awesome season. Now let's see what's happening on future episodes of Hang in Focus. Next week, on May 21st, we'll be joined by Here Arizona podcast producers Scott Bork and Anthony Wallace. And on May 28th, we'll be handing the keys over to our Department of Learning and Education for an education takeover, where we'll see what has been going on in their world this year. And we'll get an update from the ATC teams. That should be a great episode. We hope you'll join us. So some exciting shows coming up here on Hang in Focus. Now let's see what's happening at theaters around Arizona. All right, headed down to Tucson. The Scoundrel and Scamp still has Letters End, created and performed by Wolf Boert. And that's through May 16th. That is this Sunday. So you still have a little bit of time to catch that. It's a streaming event, so it's completely safe. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. Go to scoundrelandscamp.org for full information on that offering. All right, now headed up to Phoenix, Arizona Broadway Theater still has Nonsense playing through this Sunday, May 16th. So there's still a little more time to check that out. COVID-19 protocols are observed, and you can get all the information at azbroadwaytheater.com. It's a real fun show. And Phoenix Theater Company has My Way, created by David Grapes and Todd Olson. That is a tribute to Frank Sinatra, and it plays through May 23rd. COVID-19 protocols are observed, and it's in their outdoor theater, so also safe. Well, that's just about it for today, but before we go, as we head back to live theater, come back to the stage, and continue our digital offerings, we'd like to remind you that the best way for you to stay up to date and abreast on what Arizona Theater Company has to offer you is to subscribe to our email list at arizonatheater.org, to like us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel and ring that bell so you get notifications when we have new content. So find us online, and please reach out with your feedback, opinions. It's really important to us as we make this journey to take you with us. And so your feedback is vital. Have a great and safe weekend, everybody, and scene.